Let's talk about it because, look, it's an exciting sports weekend for fans here in Charlotte, right? Like
You got a double header like you wouldn't believe from the two best teams in Charlotte.
And it starts tomorrow, man.
Early.
It starts early. But here's the thing. Before we get to it, I got to ask Jeb, before we get to our guests, and look, you're going to enjoy this segment. You have to choose soccer or football, college football.
I was just talking to our sports anchor, Danielle Stein, about this. It is a dilemma like nobody's, because you got Texas Tech, Utah, but you have Charlotte FC looking to make it a record 10 wins in a row. So what we decided is we're going to go to a bar and be really obnoxious and have them put the Charlotte FC on 9 TVs and then throw whatever football game they want to have on that 10th, because that's going to be one heck of a match.
That was a test, and you passed. Yeah. You passed. Let's get to our guests. We have Kacey White, MLS soccer analyst. Kacey, you hear us talking, Jeb and I. We're just kind of stumbling along. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be a part of the first Friday show for you, Friday evening. And I have the dilemma of college game day too, but unfortunately and fortunately, I'm on the air, had to make a decision, and I get to call the Charlotte FC game instead. So I'm right there with you guys.
It's what they say in the NFL, making a business decision. You made a good decision because, look, it's going to be a good matchup there in the Bronx there, Charlotte FC, New York FC. It has been an incredible run for Charlotte FC. They haven't lost a game in a long, long time. I do want to get into it. Big matchup. Can you, I guess, explain some keys to a win for Charlotte FC? Because I'm not going to lie, here in Charlotte, sports-wise, we need a team to be good, and this is big for us.
Well, it's a huge matchup, like you said, so I will reiterate that point. And I think ever since I knew I was doing this game, I always thought it was going to be a really interesting tactical matchup, but New York City as well, in the form that they're in, and then you put that on top of the form that we already know Charlotte's in, it makes for an even better matchup. A huge key to what Charlotte has been so good at has been they're so structured defensively, but when they go forward, it almost seems like it's a goal every other time. And the finishing efficiency that they have had in the attacking third has been critical, and along this entire stretch. And I think it's going to be no different against New York City when you go to Yankee Stadium, a small field, and against a really good team.
With that being said, there's like a different energy this season around the club, around Charlotte FC. Like, what are you seeing? It's a two-part. What are you seeing in like the addition of Wilfried Zaha? What has that meant to the club?
It's a personality, first and foremost. I've watched Wilfried Zaha for years just as a fan, not an analyst of the game only. I love just watching the game. And when you add someone with the personality and the pizzazz that he has, but also the experience that he brings from the Premier League into this environment, that cannot be understated. So there's those intangibles. You add on the goal scoring. Now you add on how much attention he's drawing and his ability to play in pockets and draw attention and get assists and just all those little pieces as well. I could go on forever. His work rate last game against Inter Miami defensively. He's just a player that you can really build around, and he's becoming even more multifaceted than I think we all thought.
Totally. Zaha, this is Jeb here. I'm jumping in. You know, Nick Sturgeon was having so much fun. I was like, I got to ask some questions. It gets some of your insight. So we saw a fantastic match on, I want to say it was Wednesday, between Columbus and New York City. Crazy last-minute finish to seal that game. I was watching that game, and I've watched a lot of New York City games, and playing at Yankee Stadium on that pitch, I cringe because it is so narrow. And Charlotte FC is obviously a team where so much of what they do offensively comes out wide, and you got to kind of change those tactics. Luckily, we have Pep Biel, who there's a lot of discussion about whether or not he makes the starting lineup with Brant Bronico playing so well. How do you think that narrow pitch and the way Charlotte's been playing lately will kind of work together? How is that going to look tomorrow?
It's a challenge. You bring up an excellent point, Jeb, because it does change things. It doesn't mean that it can be an excuse. It doesn't mean that, but you have to find different spaces to play in, and the margins of error are so different. We saw with the game versus Columbus that the ball retention was not very good from either side. There was lots of turnovers in the middle third. So it became a game of who was going to finish and be really efficient in the final third, and also who was going to turn those turnovers into attacking transition moments. And that's what's really important at Yankee Stadium is when those balls are turned over, what do you look like above the ball? What do you look like behind the ball in rest defense? And which team manages those moments better could be the real key to the separation in this game, because we have two teams that can possess. We have two teams that can press and defend and be structured. So something has to give there, and I think it's those transition moments.
What would it mean for a guy like Jeb mentioned it, Pep Biel, to be back in the lineup? Again, it's still up in the air, but what would it mean for him to be in the lineup?
Everything. As a former player, I feel for players that are in really good form. They get injured and then they go out of a game or for a while since early August, then they just want to get back to where they were. But it's a process. And so for a player like Pep Biel to get back in the game from a personal standpoint, I'm sure just being able to get minutes is great, but I know he is probably striving to get back into that exact same form. And it's better for Charlotte if he can get there. But it's a good problem that Dean Smith has on his hands. Everyone's performing well. So it's how do you incorporate a player like Biel back in? Does he go back in right away? Are there certain games that you think he might be a better fit for? This could be one of them, but you just don't know what Dean Smith's going to do with how he wants to manage the lineups with the team that's in such great form.
So the last time Charlotte played New York City FC, it had just been announced that Nico Fernandez would join the team. He hadn't played yet. The window hadn't opened. He's there now. Fernandez is a name at New York City FC that's producing a lot of goals, a lot of assists. What can Charlotte do to really shut down that attacking three of Fernandez, Maxi Morales, and Hannes Wolf? I mean, that is a loud three that hasn't really drummed up the same amount of headlines that we've seen from like Inter Miami or some of these other teams, but that is a strong, fun, like attacking three.
It is. And what's really good about what they do is they have really nice interchange. So they pick up different areas. One leaves a spot, one fills a spot. It's not very vertical. It can be horizontal. It can be opposite movements. So that can be really hard about pulling defenses out. But one of the strong suits of what I believe has made Charlotte so successful is Malanda and Reem and how they play together and understanding those movements in conjunction with Westwood in front of them. Like, how do they manipulate that space that's right in front of their back line and make sure that New York City can't? But you bring up Nico, he's been playing really well, but then he finally got that goal against Chicago, and you add his ability to connect to a work ethic piece that he has as well. Charlotte is going to have to be aware that he can make runs out of the middle third as well. That's how he got his goal versus Chicago. He started it in his own defensive third, building out of the back, playing in combination, and ran about 70 yards for a goal. So tracking runners, keeping your eye on Nico, really important.
All right, and I know the Charlotte FC fans have been yelling at their television for me to ask this question, but I just had to keep you guys waiting just a little bit. Idon Toklamati might be the hottest name in the league, having one of the most prolific late season runs we've ever seen from a player who, and I will say when Charlotte signed him, I was like, who is this guy? It looked like he had talent, but when we lost Ajamong, I was hoping for a DP number 9, a fun signing to really galvanize the fan base, and Dean Smith said, no, we're good. We got it. And I think I speak for all Charlotte FC fans. I was like, what do you mean we got it? We're not scoring anything right now. Like, it's our biggest problem. And Idon Toklamati, like a galloping Pegasus, flies onto the field and absolutely has been dominant. A hat trick versus Inter Miami, announcing himself to the league. What does he have to do to keep up a run of form that we've truly never seen in Charlotte since, I'm thinking like Cam Newton era. Like, that's how well he's playing right now. I mean, this is a resurgence like we cannot believe. So what does he need to keep doing?
Here's what I will say. Tokomati has been unbelievable. He's been in great form. I have to give him the credit. The soccer nerd's going to come out in me because obviously you get paid the big bucks to score goals, and that's what he's doing. But I love everything else he does for this team as a number 9. He plays between the lines. He connects play well. His 1 and 2 touch technique, his ability to get into the box and to sniff out areas where he thinks the ball may bounce and then provide the finishing touch. That's really where it's at. But it's everything he does in between that makes him actually a very all-around and well-rounded number 9. But you're right. That's what managers have to choose. When a big player leaves, do we go elsewhere, or do we have players within our roster, either one or by committee, that can fill this role? Dean Smith knew what he was doing. He saw every day what Edon was doing, and he probably couldn't predict how many goals he would score. But sometimes as a player, you're just waiting for an opportunity, however that comes, and then you have to be ready for it. So you grind in the shadows, and then you hope that it comes out under the lights. And that's really what has happened for Edon Tokomati. And what a great time it's happening for him, for Charlotte FC, and for all the fans.
Jeb said Cam Newton. He knew what he was doing when he said that. I'm a diehard Panthers fan, so
Okay.
She said, okay.
I gotta ask.
Like, I'm not joining you on that. I'm sorry.
Look, it'll get better. It'll get better. Still.
Sorry, you have Charlotte FC. You just need one.
I'm sorry, I'm endearing myself to Charlotte fans right now. I'm sorry, or Carolina Panthers fans. I apologize, but this is a soccer show, so don't hold it against me.
I won't. As the president of the fan club, I won't.
No. You try to convert me. Let's go.
I got to ask about a guy like Matt Freese. He signs his contract extension. He's elite. Dude is elite. Not really a question, but Charlotte FC, they're going to have a lot on their hands dealing with this guy.
They are. He has, I can just speak from experience from whether it was my playing career or my coaching career. I am a big proponent of, if you can have a top-level goal scorer and a top-level keeper, you're going to stay in a lot of games just by having those players. And so having a Matt Freese is really good for New York City, and that's why I mentioned that the attacking efficiency piece of Charlotte is going to have to be on point, because he manages the space behind the back line extremely well, and he can come up with the big save. We've seen that from Kalina as well on the flip side. So I think both of these goalkeepers it's going to take something special to get past them. Even though we've seen New York City concede more goals recently, they've also shown that they can score more goals. And so it'll just be interesting to see how that all balances out tomorrow.
Totally. And I think for those of us who watch Matt Freese in the Gold Cup, it's not the goalie you want to face. He looks phenomenal. There's a very good chance that he plays for the U.S. in 2026. I'm hoping some of our guys in Europe step up, but if they don't, Matt Freese is a phenomenal option to have there. Just kind of finally, we thank you so much. You've been so generous with your time. We really, really appreciate it. Charlotte fans, this is the most excited they've been for a team in a very, very long time. We have our partner, Nick Sturdivant, trotting out every Sunday trying to get the Panthers to win. We're hoping that the Hornets have the same thing. It's an exciting time. What would you be watching out for tomorrow if you were, part of the crown? Lots of people are watching in places like Hopfly, Hooligans. Everyone's going to be coming out. Record-breaking game. What should fans be watching out for from both teams? What should fans be getting excited for?
I think this is going to be a battle of who can play in their opponent's half more often. And we've been talking about football, American football, so I'm going to use this term a little bit, but just gaining ground a little bit is something that's important. We don't talk about that much from that perspective in soccer, but when you play on a tight field like Yankee Stadium, if you can play in the opponent's half more often, you limit mistakes that are really close to your goal. So I don't see a lot of play back to the keeper, play out of the back, and invite pressing, which I think is going to make a lot of fun for fans. So when fans are out there watching, seeing those moments of whenever a ball is turned over, look at the runs off the ball that the players up top can make in Zaha, in Vargas, in Toklamati, in Bronico. All those players, I think, are going to be looking in transition moments to make a difference. And I think it's going to happen on the flip side as well. So it makes for a really end-to-end game and a quick one just because of the dimensions of the field and the nature of both of these teams wanting to score goals.
That's Kacey White, MLS soccer analyst. Look, I understand the dilemma that you're in. On one hand, look, you got a great matchup, Charlotte FC, New York FC. But on the other hand, you're gonna be missing out some college football. We'll make sure you're updated somehow. We'll make sure that you're good to go. Thank you so much for taking time to do this, break this down. Again, Charlotte is a soccer city. I think we can say that, Jeb.
100%. This is Soccer City.
Soccer City.
It's a soccer city. We're there.
Yeah. Almost a football city.
Well, American football definitely comes after soccer for me. So about 2:30 p.m. Eastern on, I can watch some football. But tomorrow,
that's what's up.
Soccer. So Apple TV for sure.
Apple Season Pass. MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. That's where you can catch Kacey White. It's going to be a phenomenal match, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Kacey.
Thank you.
Oh man, great interview, great talk there, great breakdown. Look, a lot of my soccer Charlotte FC knowledge I get from Jeb. Jeb has really been having me tapped in. I mean, Charlotte FC is still a young team, young franchise. So shout out to Jeb. Shout out to the fans.
No, it's been awesome, and I say this every time I can. But this is so neat for me. I grew up watching the San Jose Earthquakes at Buckshot Stadium in Santa Clara, and you'd have 200-300 people. And MLS for us was cool, but it never felt like the games in England, right? I would wake up early to watch Robert Van Persie, Samir Nat, guys for Arsenal FC growing up, and then I'd go play my soccer game.
Right.
Then I'd go to Buckshot Stadium, watch Real Salt Lake, watch Steven Leonard, Chris Wondolowski dominating for the Earthquakes. So to be in a city now like Charlotte, where you go to these games and there's 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people cheering on soccer, knowing the chants, wearing the jerseys. It's not just a pastime like it was when I was growing up. It is a true fandom. So to see the league, to see what Apple TV has done for the league, to watch it. I mean, if you guys have an opportunity to watch MLS 360,
it's really good. It's
a phenomenal product.
Yeah.
So I feel so blessed to be alive and to be an MLS fan. And the parity of the league makes it so interesting to be able to root for Charlotte FC, who's just dominant. I mean, one of the most dominant teams we've seen, as good as Columbus when they won. Yeah. I feel so lucky to be a fan. So and to have Kacey to break down what to expect, I mean, that has been phenomenal. So we really appreciate the time.
And soccer in the South, I want to point that out, Jeff.
Yeah, look at Atlanta. Look at Orlando.
I was in Atlanta when the Atlanta United wave was so huge. Yep. And seeing the stadium.
They're still crazy.
It's still crazy.
They're terrible, and people are still going to those games.
And, coming here, eventually getting here, and it's just like, wow, just to see that. It's awesome. So good luck, Charlotte FC. The game is at noon. New York Yankee Stadium. I was about to say New York Yankee Stadium. We don't say it like that. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Make sure you catch it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.